Live look this morning from Hawaii. As you can see, the rain coming down now in the area. We've watched the water move in, the water move out as they continue to monitor and see whether or not these tsunami waves will hit any harder than they already have. It's actually been kind of on the mild side, which is good news for residents of Hawaii this morning. And as we continue to follow this 8.9 magnitude earthquake that hit in Japan early this morning for us, late last night, early into the morning, and in the afternoon for them, it has triggered tsunami warnings. We've heard that at least 200 to 300 people have died as they found hundreds of bodies in the northern coastal areas there. That it's actually the closest to the epicenter. That epicenter centered just about 231 miles from Tokyo. Now let's take a look at the moment when this quake happened. You can see the panic that happens here. The building shaking, papers and books flying, the walls shaking, people trying to duck for cover during this office meeting as they just try to figure out exactly what's happening. And you can see this is quite the earthquake. It was a very big earthquake that hit there. Take a listen to what one person who saw it firsthand had to say.
We're on the 9th floor of an office building, and just as the earthquake hit, all the papers went flying. We have a tape library as well, and the tapes are strewn all over the floor. So what happened in our office, though I wasn't here, I was at Tokyo Station, basically everything was shaking, and anything that was piled up fell on the ground.
Just a mess. And you can see this right here. These are the flames from just a huge ball of flames from the oil refinery in the Ichihara area. To give you an idea of where that is, that's right across Tokyo Bay from Tokyo. And obviously when this shaking occurred, they had some ruptured gas lines, and that is the fireball that resulted from that. Witnesses that we've been hearing from this morning have said you could see it really just for miles there. It's been an incredible sight to see in that area. Now, keep in mind this morning that the Tokyo metro system has stopped. Bullet trains are at a standstill right now. That quake hit in the afternoon in Japan, so anyone who was using the subway system there is now stranded, and they've seen a lot of people who just got off the trains and said, forget it, we're just going to walk our way to our next destination. They've been walking along the tracks and trying to make their way slowly but surely into an area, but you can see a lot of the traffic lights are out too. So not only are people walking, but you've got cars, you've got the train systems that are stopped. So it's, really one thing after the other that they're seeing there. Also, let's take you out for a live look in Hawaii right now. We've already seen some of the tsunami activity happen there. We heard some people saying that the reef there, just outside of Diamond Head, as they saw the water recede about 200 feet there and then come back in. They were expecting much larger waves than they saw this morning when this hit. So this is sort of the aftermath of that. But as we told you earlier this morning, tsunamis are a series of waves that really can be dangerous for 10 to 12 hours after the initial waves hit. So this is going to be something that people all over the Pacific Ocean will be watching this morning and throughout the day to make sure that none of this hits any stronger than they want it to. So clearly there's going to be a lot of eyes on the seas this morning. Also this morning, a tsunami warning in effect, as we mentioned, for Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California, also British Columbia. There are a lot of people all up and down the West Coast keeping an eye on this. As we take a look at the updated numbers for when these waves may hit, Crescent City, 7:23 a.m. is when they're expecting the waters to hit there. San Francisco at 8:08 a.m. and Santa Barbara at 8:17 a.m. this morning. The West Coast and Alaska tsunami warning centers are really hard at work this morning, telling people in coastal communities that they do need to prepare for an evacuation just in case that's necessary. So making sure that you have all of your affairs in order. Make sure if you live in a coastal community, putting things in a box, just taking them with you, just to make sure that things are extra safe. Right now, they have not issued any evacuations there, so keep that in mind this morning. But also do keep an eye on your local emergency services. They tell you to get out. They're saying be calm, be cautious, but do heed their warnings. Very important this morning. Also here in the valley this morning, the Emergency Management Agency is preparing for this tsunami in the state of California. Courtney Dempsey joining us live now at Mather Field with the very latest from there. Courtney, good morning to you.
Good morning, Christina. Yeah, you've pretty much covered all the bases for everything that's happening here at EMA. Right now, they're basically just in a holding pattern, just kind of waiting to see what could happen. As you mentioned, Crescent City is right now their biggest concern for the state of California. And at this point, again, California is in a tsunami warning stage. And a warning by definition is that inundating wave is possible, and they're suggesting evacuation specifically for those coastal communities to move further inland. They are working with all the agencies across the state, including the CHP, who have already already started issuing closures on certain coastal highways as well as beaches. So as more information comes in, as things change, we will get that information back to you. But right now, again, pretty much just kind of waiting to see what could or could not happen with the tsunami.
All right, Courtney Dempsey live this morning at Matherfield. Courtney, thank you so much. Nick Janes also live for us this morning. He's watching the scene on the Great Highway in San Francisco that's now closed to traffic. Nick, what can you tell us from your vantage point?
Well, it's interesting, Christina. We've actually seen a number of joggers running up and down the sidewalk here as police are patrolling the upper and lower Great Highway. It is closed to traffic. You can see there's at least one truck that's been able to get through, but officers are posted on the side streets trying to keep cars out. The last thing they want is a scene like what we were noticing on Highway 92, where you have all those cars parking to try to get a look at the tsunami waves crashing ashore. This is Ocean Beach. You can take a look out. There's actually a gentleman walking pretty close to the water's edge right there with his dog. Probably won't be coming back right around 8:08 when the waves are expected to hit. It's not going to be anything catastrophic. At least that's the expectation from forecasters. Waves may be between 2 and 5 feet, but it's important to point out that we are not in a high tide. We're in low tide right now, and so any water level increase may actually not equal a normal high tide. What does that mean? Well, possibly not much in the way of flooding and damage, or at least that is the hope. Of course, a number of beaches along the coast of California and in San Francisco specifically are shut down in anticipation, in preparation for the tsunami waves coming. And as well, we're also still trying to find out if BART is going to be shutting down train service between 7 and 9. Of course, that would be highly, highly unlikely, but they are considering doing so between West Oakland and San Francisco, again, just out of extreme caution. So a lot happening here. The mood in San Francisco, at least from authorities, is one of cautious optimism. Locals, I don't know. I haven't detected much in the way of fear because you have people out walking around and just kind of going about their business. But Christina, we'll have to see if that changes as we get a little bit closer to 8 o'clock.
Sure, absolutely. Better to be safe than sorry. That seems to be the theme today. All right, Nick, thank you very much for the update. We certainly appreciate it. Take a look at this, too. Some cars and people really lining up this morning. This is going to be a look at Highway 92 this morning in the Bay Area. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that's the road that leads to Half Moon Bay up and over the summit there. Now, some of the backup is from commuters that are just trying to get to and from work this morning, from their homes to work, but a lot of the other people are there. They've parked along the sides of the roadways as this is a very high vantage point in hopes of getting a glimpse of some of those first waves that, again, will be hitting the San Francisco area about 8:08 this morning. So they're trying to get the best look. CHP has been in the area trying to get people off the roadways, get them out of the way, make sure that they're parking legally, but you can see a lot of people out there, lots of looky-loos this morning. It is now 6:38. Back to you guys in the
Everybody
studio.
trying to get the best vantage point over there. Boy, Christine, thank you.
We got a video of the tsunami wave that moved across the countryside, initially in Japan, taking with it trees and cars this morning. There's just unbelievable devastation and damage there. It hit early Friday morning Japan time. They're about 15 hours ahead of us here in California. 8.9 magnitude quake. And also Sendai City Airport. Sendai City is the airport and the area that has really seemed to receive the brunt of the damage, the largest populated city closest to the epicenter of the earthquake. The airport there flooded, and we're hearing reports with the water beginning to recede somewhat that they've found 200 to 300 bodies because of the flooding. And now Japanese Coast Guard is looking for a ship that was carrying 80 dock workers that was swept away when the tsunami struck the northeastern coast of the country.
We have Don Geronimo here, and Tina has also been following some of the social media, Twitter accounts, and that sort of thing. You guys,
those pictures are incredible, Nick. Those pictures are incredible when you're watching something on TV and you realize, oh, this is something that maybe I've seen in a movie before.
Right.
That's like where it becomes real.
It looks like a special effect in a movie at that point.
This picture right here. Now, if you were to see this in a movie, you might go, oh, is this good CGI or bad CGI? Then you got to stop yourself for a second and say, hey, holy cow, this is real. This is really happening. And you were mentioning social media. If you go to my Facebook page, that's Don Geronimo at Facebook. I've got 5,000 followers, and I put out the note that I would like updates, pictures from friends and family. I've gotten a couple of notes just put about a couple of minutes ago. John Tibbs wrote, I'm going to try to get pictures from my mom and dad vacationing in Kona right now. Somebody else wrote that they're trying to get a hold of their family, and they can't do it. You can send me pictures on either Twitter or Facebook, and I'll be glad to get them right on the TV for you.
And teens following on Twitter as well,
yes.
too, this morning, Teen.
Right.
What's happening over there, T?
Well, like if you take my PC2 here, you know, like Associated Press right over here, Japanese police is about 43 minutes ago, say 200, like Marianne was just saying, to 300 bodies have been found. Northeastern coastal area, can see this here. Death toll likely to climb. CNN, massive quake. They're just, it's just coming on like minute by minute.
And
here.
you mentioned the nuclear power plant there, too, that you saw something there.
Oh, that's right here. And I have Reuters up here, too. Let's see, where was that?
That it was flooded, and so they were evacuating it because the cooling system had not worked.
Here's Barack Obama. Instructed FEMA to be ready to assist Hawaii and the rest of the United States and territories that could be affected.
On our Facebook page as well, too, we've got a way for you to post if you've got something you want to talk about, too. People say they've been through tsunamis before, or tsunami warnings, but that this one feels a little bit different. So we're going to keep tracking back on Facebook and Twitter as well, and let us know what you're seeing and hearing out there.
And Marianne, I just got a note from my wife. I have the phone number of our friends in Maui if we need it. And on Facebook, I just got a note from Teddy McKay saying he's got a guy that just opened a golf school in Tokyo, and he's originally from Boston. We've got a phone number for him as well. Oh, maybe we'll
try to get a hold of him.
Put that phone number on TV. Thanks right there. Everybody
Obviously, our big story on this Friday at just about, let's see, 43 minutes past now. We'll keep an eye on the latest tsunami warnings for the California coast.
Got a live look at the beach out there, too, here, and the Great Highway, I should say, in San Francisco there, that runs right out alongside the outer edge of the peninsula. Tsunami reported to hit around 10 after 8 this morning. We'll keep watching it for you here live on Good Day Sacramento.
Sacramento is surrounded by levees. And if a levee breaks, neighborhoods could flood.
But your family can be ready with an emergency plan.
Choose a place where everyone will meet in case of a flood.
Have an emergency kit ready to go with 3 days worth of food and water, medications, and copies of important paperwork.
And protect your biggest investment, your home, by purchasing flood insurance.
To learn more, visit sacramentoready.org.
With a little planning, you can weather any storm.
And keep your family safe.